We anticipate in the next 10 to 12 years approximately 8 to 6 million Hispanics coming into the United States and 41 million Asians. You have been the majority minority for 400 years in this country. You have been the number 2 population for 400 years. You're going to get kicked out of being number 2. You're going to go down and become number 4. Now, common sense, even a third grade education will tell you, if you didn't get anything when you were number 2, you all jumped ahead of me, but anyway, you can guess what you're going to get when you become number 4.
President Biden, do you support reparations?
Well, I mean, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 of our 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is that not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America.
At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest. Which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
We are owed $104 trillion on the very low end, plus $735 billion recurring. This number does not include the cost of about 50 Black Wall Streets that were decimated, nor compound interest from 2017 when Sean D. Rochester's book, The Black Tax, was published, nor the cost of Black life, nor the cost of living increases, nor the war on drugs, nor the current day pandemic. The number I'm working with is for slavery, Jim Crow, and accrued ongoing systemic racism, oppression, and disadvantage in the country our ancestors built with their lives.
Good afternoon on the West Coast. Good afternoon in the mountain. Good afternoon in the central. Good afternoon on the East Coast. You know exactly who it is, family. Angela Nirvana, your hostess with the mostest on the reparationist perspective, bringing you those Freedmen hot topics and making the case for reparations, making the case for weaponizing our vote, socializing our suffering. How y'all doing, family? Thank you so much, Twitter Space, for joining us. Thank you so much, the regular Twitter. Thank you so much, ScrewTube. Thank you so much, Racebook participants. I'm so glad to have you guys in the building. Without further ado, let me jump into today's current events to make the case for why we must weaponize this vote till times get better for American freedmen. As per usual, Twitter Space, I see you, fam. If you want to contribute and share with my illustrious audience here on ScrewTube the way you see it, do not hesitate to send me a request and to raise your hands. This is an exchange of beautiful, brilliant American freedmen minds. And this is a freedmen voter strategy that I'd like to go viral for us to move as a block. You know those of us that are ready for the revolution. I see you, Sasha Delry 360. Thank you. And The Rock, thank you so much. I saw your email. I will respond. I'm a little slow, but I will absolutely respond to you. Well, family, I'm just rather disturbed because I've just been seeing so much puckery today, and I want to share with you what has happened today. Okay. It's just, every day is something. Every day is a reason to wake up angry and hotter than fish grease. But some of the hate I keep trying to impress upon you guys, that when you continue this trend of voting blue, no matter who, that it's to our peril, and that the only kind of immigration that's being imported is the kind that detest us. And so I want to share some of that with you in this space today. I need to have this memorialized so that if our people continue in this vein, I can say, like Dr. Claude Anderson, I've been sounding the alarm. And I can point you right back to this video because it will be memorialized here. But before I get to that, because a lot of this stuff is on Racebook, I want to share with you this article that I found, that New York City could spend $300 million annually to house the migrants in the hotels. Now, I shared with you yesterday how posh and how luxurious these hotels are. It is just unconscionable that American freedmen, 58% of the homeless population in New York, and we're not just going to stay in New York. I mean, the anti-freedmen racist sentiment is national. So I'll be jumping around as the stories present themselves to share with you what's going on in other parts of the country. We have no friends. So I shared with you yesterday about how luxurious. I showed you in a visual. For those of you in Twitter space, if you want to see it, you have to go and look at the actual live Twitter, or the archive Twitter, or the archive Facebook, or even more importantly, go to the Screw Tube. Go and view the archives there and put a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm so this message can stretch far and wide and one day become viral. Sooner than later, I pray, especially for the midterms. I'm really hopeful to get enough comrades on my side with my Freedmen voter strategy. I'm prayerful to get enough of us to really bring the Democrats to their knees and to show them that we were the ones to do it. Nothing would thrill me more. So I shared with you yesterday how well they're living, and I juxtaposed that to the diabolical homeless shelters that our people are either reduced to living in, or living on the streets, or living on the subways, which they no longer can. Out here in California, they've made loitering a crime. Oh, it's a hot mess. They just disappear on us, y'all. It is a mess, a mess. So today's article is dealing with how New York City could seriously spend about $300 million annually to house these migrants in these hotels. This is an analysis in the New York Post, dated the 24th today. The Big Apple could be on the hook for more than $300 million per year to provide shelter space in hotels for newly arrived migrants, a Post analysis shows. City officials have either rented or announced plans to secure roughly 5,800 hotel rooms over the last month in response to the influx from the southern border, which quickly overwhelmed the already strained homeless shelter system. Me speaking, we saw clearly in yesterday's video that the only ones living in those diabolical conditions are the homeless Americans, 58% of which are Black. And I've showed you income disparities between us and even Black immigrants. So 9 times out of 10, the 58% of the homeless in New York is American freedmen who descend from U.S. chattel slavery. A lot of them have mental health issues. A lot of them are even vets. American freedmen has served this country in every war. And look at how we are in the fight of our lives to prevent from becoming the permanent bottom caste in the country our ancestors built with their lives, and how we are literally out of time. This may be the last election cycle we've got before Joe Crow puts into place American citizenship for the illegals that he's flooding the country with. He's got about 22 million he wants to make citizens. And the way they're doing it is with our reparations and protections, because you can't bring them here and not make them more American than us for the vote. So our Holocaust, our never-ending Holocaust, is being weaponized to give these illegals placement over us as our new Crayola white supremacist. And today's broadcast is going to show you better than I can tell you. Back to the text. Okay. One of the largest operations is planned for the Row New York City Hotel on 8th Avenue in Midtown, where officials are looking to rent as many as 600 rooms and provide intake and other services for the recent arrivals. Okay, officials said Monday they were evaluating 4 proposals to run the site. Records show the Row was previously used, by city officials to provide shelter as a part of a $139 million contract the Department of Homeless Services inked in January 21, in which City Hall shelled out an average of $147.67 per day in rent. Assuming that DHS, that stands for Department of Homeland Security, has secured a similar rate this time around, providing the 5,800 hotel rooms could add an unexpected $312.6 million in new spending to the city budget. And that's before tallying other costs, like providing food and medical care. Providing these services will clearly be a significant cost that will require city officials to either shift funding from other programs or identify savings, said Anna Chapney, the top researcher of the Citizens Budget Commission. Did you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? They're literally talking about taking money from services that service American freedmen. They're talking about taking money from programs that currently fund things for our American citizens in the country our ancestors built with their lives, to shift those resources over to the illegals, to give them luxury housing in New York City. This is what's going on, family. And so when I tell you that immigrants and whites will determine American freedmen fate, if we stay home because we're waiting for tangibles that ain't coming, instead of going out here weaponizing our vote and socializing our suffering by getting these borders closed, I am not just blowing smoke. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Everything I presented to you is showing you what is going on. Okay, I'm showing you. I'm not just, espousing rhetoric. I'm not just trying to instill fear or be a boogeyman or be a racist, which I can't afford to be. I'm telling you what time it is with how they're setting up the immigrants to replace us after they've now neutralized us economically, and now they're coming for the vote. And this is one of the ways in which they intend to do it. So let me share my screen. I want to share what's going down in terms of what's happening on the homeless front. Shout out to Bejtash Sampson. He talks here in a Facebook post that I shared with my thread. When Democrats run your city and country, it is guaranteed that Black people will continue to suffer. New York City is the slavery capital of the North. It was made so by the Democratic Party. Today, as always, Each Democratic Party administration, from the White House to city majors contribute to the support and perpetuation of the slave system and Jim Crow. Not least the ex-cop who moonlights as mayor, Eric Adams. So let me share my screen and listen up, Twitter space, in case you want to weigh in. Do not hesitate to send a request. I had to go early today because I've got some appointments later this afternoon. So I know that the audience is a little light, but I'm here to tell you the YouTube is archived. It will render after this, okay? So let me share my screen. Stand by. Get a load of this. Unbelievable.
A Wells Fargo launch party the same day that he started the destruction of all homeless encampments in New York City. And the event was launching a credit card for rich people to pay rent with. Eric Adams announced that in the next 2 weeks, the NYPD will destroy all homeless encampments with no plans to house any of the people living in them. This comes after him attempting to criminalize homelessness in the subway, continuously attempting to sweep homeless people into freezing weather, and again, giving them no access to housing, and cutting the already neglected New York City housing budget by $615 million. His alleged crime crackdown is actually just criminalizing homelessness and poverty. Destroying encampments while offering no form of housing is extreme violence that Eric Adams wants under the radar. Eric, you seemed a little uncomfortable next to Cara Delevingne at the rich people party, yet completely comfortable with criminalizing poverty. And that seems a little off to me. The next day, when asked about the dichotomy between the party and the encampment raids, this is how he responded.
Yes. I love this subject.
Are you worried about the optics of that contrasting with, say, the clearing of the homeless encampments? Are you worried, or how could you speak to how that helps improve the city, how it reopens the city, supports the city's economy?
Okay, first of all, we need a level of accuracy.
After diverting the question as much as possible, he had the audacity to say this.
Nightlife, believe it or not, is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And when they see their mayor out enjoying our city, it sends the right message and the right signal. And I can multitask.
Since he ignored anything about the raids, I attempted to bring it up.
Wells Fargo event help homeless people the same day that the encampment is raided.
And we joined and signed a letter with Brad Lander, because Wells Fargo has a history.
When it was clear he wasn't going to answer my question, I again tried to redirect it towards the raids.
And I separate the two. I got to get my companies
Is any of the people?
Let me answer. You're going to cut me off.
Did you house any of the people in the encampment?
I suppose not letting a cop spew lies makes them so uncomfortable that they run away.
So what now?
New York City mutual aid around the city has been gearing up for these raids, and if you have the means, support them. Cop Adams has demanded that people don't film the police.
Stop being on top of my police officers while they're carrying out their job.
So let's do the opposite. The NYPD are corrupt. Video evidence means that it is harder for the police to lie about their corruption. So let's keep putting pressure on the situation, support mutual aid, and keep filming the pigs.
So there you have it, family. Eric Adams, who is a Black immigrant, choosing to actually party with the rich while coming down with an iron fist and disrupting homeless encampments all over New York, while not providing the same luxurious accommodations he has allowed and afforded for illegals that just got here. Professor Smiles, did you want to weigh in? I see your mic.
Oh, I'm just listening right now, Sister Reparations. Thank you for the space again. Just listening.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining. If anyone wants to weigh in, just send a request and I will, and raise your hand so I'll know that you want to speak. But yes, so Eric Adams, a Black immigrant that's ruling over American freedmen in New York with a very iron fist, giving away the farm as the Democrat he is, as the democratically elected mayor that he is, has chosen to party with the rich. He believes that that's more a priority than housing the homeless because of the 50,000, which I believe it's understated, homeless in the city. Of those 50,000, 58% are American freedmen. So he'd rather hobnob with the rich. And this is what I keep imploring upon our people. Not only do we have to defect from the Democratic Party by filing independence, if nothing else, do that radical move. And if we do that in critical mass, the Democrats will know we're here. So I would immediately, I've been independent since Barack Obama. That's when I changed to independent. And I'm imploring upon us to do the same. But I want you to know that when our people continue to show to the polls, voting blue no matter who, these are the kinds of immigrants that are going to be in place as our Crayola white supremacist oppressors. And they don't give they give less of a damn than even the white oppressors. They hate us even with more vitriol because they want to just come in and take it over with the help of our government at every branch. Now, I want to go to this other post from Josh of Be the Power. Shout out to Josh. He posted this abhorrent post from a Hispanic. Let me see if I can share this so it can be memorialized. Let me stop sharing this. Oh, there it is. Okay. I hope you guys see what's on the screen right now. I'm going to read it for you, Twitter Space. Oh, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. And if you feel so compelled to bless my voice in this advocacy space, you can do so at Cash App $TRPTV. I'm, in addition to weaponizing the vote and socializing the suffering, I am also a little bit of a campaign central, pushing out to get tons of votes for Greg Marcel Dixon, our reparations candidate in District 6, South Carolina. Please bless his campaign on recurring, whether it's your $5 Starbucks money or your whatever it is. I'm imploring upon us to understand that aggregated dollars can get Marcel the money he needs to be a real reparations contender and force to be reckoned with. I want us to be invested in getting the right candidates elected. I also want us to seek him out if we're interested in running for office, because the thing I can't stand the most is having hate-filled, anti-freedmen, hateful immigrants in office at every branch of government. They're totally in place to do the white supremacist ethno-genocidal plan to extinct us to as few in number as the Indians. And they're weaponizing the color of our skin against us. They're weaponizing our never-ending Holocaust against us. And so please, please, please put your payments on recurring. Hi, Insane Optimist. I see you, family. Thank you for joining the line. Yeah, please, please, please put that on recurring, no matter how small. Aggregated dollars gets the job done. Thank you so much, Insane Optimist. He's liked and shared. And please, Twitter, you guys know I'm a little challenged. This is only day 8 in this space. I really need you to share me over here in Twitter space the way you guys tweet the space out. Hi, Carl Andrews. Yep, that's the nature of the beast. And we're here to defeat the beast in the spirit of our ancestors, okay? And the way we do that is to weaponize social media, weaponize our voices. This is my lane. This is what I've been granted to do. This is my marching orders from my inner Christ. We each have our own marching orders, and we need to get about that business of those marching orders. But let me go back to this hateful thing that was shared by a hateful Hispanic. But there's no lies detected. So Miguel Antonio Zapata Gonzalez was replying to Caden Next Door and Mike Baggs, B-A-G-G-Z. He said, "That's right, Negroes. You're finally starting to understand. When Hispanics become the majority, we will finish what the white man did not. It's finna be a purge." Let me repeat. Miguel Antonio Zapata Gonzalez, with a Z and an S on the end, said in Twitter, "That's right, Negroes. You're finally starting to understand. When Hispanics become the majority, we will finish what the white man did not. It's finna be a purge." Now, Dr. Claude Anderson told you this was coming 40 years ago. He's been screaming this. He's still screaming it, even though he's getting up in age. I've been sharing for the past few years, while folks have been trying to silence me on this issue, calling me all manner of name, and of course, ScrewTube and Racebook suppressing my voice, shutting my channels down. Racebook shut down 5,000 subs. That's who I was streaming to in my humble beginnings. They shut that all the way down without notice. And so I had to recreate myself. And this is what we end up having to do. But I've been sharing with you for a few years now that these are the people that are running the government at every branch and that are in the police force. These are the kind that are in the police force. Let me bring up this article. I'm going to keep that up there. Hold on one second. And as California goes, so goes the nation. Okay. I want to share this article with you. And they want to re-elect this racist. Sheriff Villanueva's former chief of staff admits belonging to alleged Grim Reaper deputy gang. Current and former members of the LA County Sheriff's Department with close ties to Sheriff Alex Villanueva testified Friday. Now, this article is dated, my apologies. I'm reading from ABC Channel 7 News from Saturday, July the 2nd of this year. Current and former members of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department with close ties to Sheriff Alex Villanueva testified Friday about what they know about alleged. It ain't no alleged. We've got deputy gangs, and they're mostly Hispanic, running the police departments down here in Southern California. He testified Friday about what they know about deputy gangs within the department. Villanueva's former chief of staff, Larry Del Macy, made a stunning admission under oath, admitting that he belongs to, they say alleged, I say it's not. If he's admitting to belonging, it's no longer alleged. Deputy gang known as the Grim Reapers. I was a member of the Grim Reapers. Del Macy testified by video during a public hearing in the Sheriff's Civilian Oversight Commission's investigation on deputy gangs. Villanueva has denied the existence of deputy gangs. Del Macy was asked if he ever got a Grim Reaper tattoo. Yes, Del Macy told the special counsel. Del Macy was also asked if he still has the tattoo, to which he claimed he does not. Villanueva defied a subpoena to testify before the commission for the 5th time, saying that he fears for his safety. Yet he's running for re-election. Make it make sense. The sheriff fears for his security because he has been informed that members of the public have attended and wear shirts or jackets that say F the sheriff. Special Counsel Bert Dixler announced at the hearing. It literally is a political circus designed for political damage. It's not designed to get anything of value for either the community or me as the employer, Villanueva said Friday. How convenient. In late 2018, when Villanueva was transitioning into office, Matthew Burson, a captain in the sheriff's department at the time, was overseeing an investigation into an attack at a party in East LA, where older Bandito deputies assaulted younger non-Bandito deputies. Burson says he was given instruction on behalf of Villanueva to not ask questions about the Banditos deputy gang. Quote, did it seem odd to you that the order to pause an investigation into the motive for a crime was coming at the direction of a person who was not yet the sheriff of LA County? The special counsel asked. Yes, Burson replied. Burson was also asked about Villanueva's second in command, Under Sheriff Tim Murakami. Listen to the names, family. Burson testified he knew Murakami for approximately 30 years. He told the special counsel that Murakami has a tattoo of a caveman on his ankle. Villanueva says he cracked down on deputy gangs and that the Banditos no longer exist. Liar. In his testimony Friday, Burson told the committee what didn't happen after Villanueva assigned him in 2020 to investigate deputy gangs. Did the comprehensive investigation of the entire department that you announced on August 13, 2020 occur? No, Burson told the special counsel. Delmisi also explained to the committee why he didn't have a lengthy tenure as Villanueva's chief of staff. Quote, people that told him yes got promotions, one after another, that continue on to this day. I had a very short run in that administration for a reason, because I learned from this case not to be the messenger. I learned from other situations not to speak my truth. And overall, that was not appreciated, said Delmisi, who is now retired from the LA County Sheriff's Department. Murakami also didn't show up to testify Friday, even though he was subpoenaed. His physician told the committee's investigator that testifying would be too stressful for Murakami and it would create an adverse health risk. I want to move to another article that supports what I was sharing with you guys yesterday about how legal and illegal immigrants are hurting the Black man's ability to get gainful employment so that he can marry and have freedmen babies and continue the line. I want to share the horrors about the not so microaggressions that are going on, that are being leveled against us when they're in charge. Remember, white supremacy in this country with 3 Ks is Crayola with 3 Ks. So let me get to that article. Stand by. Uh-oh. What just happened? I lost it. Hold on, y'all. I lost my race book. How'd that happen? Let me stop sharing. And then, welcome to the live. I see you, Carolyn Harvey. Thank you, my love, for joining the live. And my tweet was Negro please, and my account was suspended because they claimed it was hate speech. Oh, but you saw, Carolyn, that they've not taken down the racists that just threatened our annihilation, right? He said, Negro, y'all need to go on that Twitter and report him and get his page shut down, because that's what they're doing to us, getting our pages shut down in Facebook and Twitter by complaining against us. So we need to do the same and be very proactive in that. Yes, thank you so much. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thank you, Insane Optimist. I think now that I'm at 1,000 subs, I think I'm actually at 1,020. Look at God. I think I can start to have moderators because the trolls are now coming back now that my page is back up, my channel's back up. They're very, very busy. Let me find my race book again so I can actually read you this article, and then I want to read you a comment from one of my comrades. Stand by, family. I don't see my, no, that's not it. That's the page they shut down. Hold on, guys. Good Lord. Here's my TRP. Okay, here. No, is that it? Oh, no, that's Twitter. Okay, let me shut that down and try again. Y'all. Yeah, so I think I might be able to have some moderators. Hold on one second again. I'm trying to get back to the TRP. Let me just put in TRP because it's bringing up everything but that. Oh, there it is at the top. Okay. Let's get back to it, family. I want to read this article about, oh, look at me over there. Lord, I hope I don't mess up my own live. I'm just reading. I'm not having the volume on, but I'm trying to scroll to find this article. Here we go. In California's largest race bias cases, Latino workers are accused of abusing Black colleagues. This is the LA Times. Let me see the date. August, this was the 22nd, just a couple days ago. Nearly every day, the one-time Ontario warehouse employee said he was stunned to hear racist slurs from Latino coworkers. They said it in English. They said it in Spanish all the time, recalled Leon Simmons, a Black father of 4 with a deep voice and gentle manner. When they look you right in the eye and call you the N-word to your face, that's dehumanizing. Me speaking. And who did Joe Crow choose to protect? Who? You guys should already know that by now. Back to the text. 32 miles away at a Moreno Valley warehouse, it was the same story. Another Black laborer, Benjamin Watkins, described how a Latina coworker called to him, "Hey, monkey," yell you, and waved a banana in her hand. A group of women burst out laughing. In America's long history, harassment and discrimination against Black workers has usually involved white perpetrators, my apologies. And that remains the case today. But with the rapid growth of the Latino population, now at 19% in the US, and they claim 39% in California, I think it's more than that. We're 3% to their 39%. Let that sink in. They're 19% to our alleged 13% in the nation. Let that sink in. And our votes have been voting for this. Voting blue, no matter who, is how these Latinos are about to take this country over. And I don't mean the ones that identify with us. They'll do that when it's convenient. They'll do that when they have their hands out for our reparations. But by and large, they are the Crayola white supremacists that are leading in management, in government, in education. Back to the text. Now in 19% in the US, 39% in California, Latinos form the majority in many low-wage workplaces. Me speaking again, absolutely a lie. They're in corporate as well with 3Ks. They're also in the private sector and the public sectors. They're running our cities. As California goes, don't forget, so goes the nation. It's coming to a major city-state near you if it hasn't happened already. Back to the text. And instances of anti-Black bias and colorism among them is drawing new scrutiny, even as activists in the two communities forge alliances over criminal justice and economic development. I want to click on this link and see where it takes me. Oh, now they want me to subscribe. I'll look at that. I'll bring that to you tomorrow. White and Hispanic, because they identify as white. They only identify as POC when they're trying to encroach on our reparations or something that's designated exclusively for us. I told you about how they were earmarked to receive $100 million to our $15 million as part of the farmers' COVID debt relief. And even some of them were a party to the lawsuit with whites and Asians, calling the COVID debt relief racist, reverse discrimination, because they'd rather have nothing at all than to see our Black farmers get a measly $15 million out of $9.2 billion. Whites were getting $6.7 billion with a B of that $9.2 billion. Hispanics were getting $100 million. Asians were getting $17.6 million. And American freedmen were on the bottom with a measly $15 million. And this is why it's imperative that we put up a gate for American freedmen. Because when you do things based on race, then the racists who are financially secure will appeal to the Supreme Court that you can't use COVID debt relief to remedy us based on race. Everything must be based on lineage. Everything. And you've got to fight for data disaggregation. In all your city states, you must fight to get data disaggregation akin to the way we've gotten down here. You must unflatten, you must untether, you must throw everyone off the tit and be exclusively about your people. We are out of time. Back to the text. Latinos certainly are targets of job discrimination as well and continue to struggle for equity in the workplace. But the two largest racial bias cases brought by the federal government in California in the last decade allege widespread abuse of hundreds of Black employees at warehouses in the Inland Empire, the state's booming distribution hub for trade between the U.S. and Asia. In interviews, Black employees said a torrent of racist insults and discriminatory treatment was mainly inflicted by Latino coworkers and supervisors who compose roughly 3/4 of the workforces at the sprawling facilities in Ontario and Moreno Valley. Mayate, a type of beetle in Spanish slang for the N-word, was a common taunt, according to interviews and court filings. U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission lawsuits alleged that supervisors at the global medical supplier Cardinal Health and at Ryder Integrated Logistics, a subsidiary of the trucking giant, along with their staffing firms, routinely ignored harassment in Spanish and English at their Inland Empire warehouses. They gave Black employees the hardest manual jobs, denied them training and promotions, and failed to take action despite dozens of complaints, according to court filings and interviews. Many of the Black workers were hired through temp agencies. When they complained, managers, both white and Latino, retaliated by disciplining them or abruptly firing them, according to the EEOC. Others felt forced to quit because of intolerable working conditions created by the hostile work environment, the lawsuits alleged. Cardinal Ryder and their temp firms denied the accusations. But of course they denied it. But as scores of Black employees came forward and the EEOC interviewed witnesses, the company settled the cases last year rather than face jury trials. Quote, "We are seeing an increase in larger race harassment cases," said Anna Park, regional attorney for the EEOC's Los Angeles District Office. "The nature of them has gotten uglier. There's a more blatant display of hatred with the N-word, with imagery, with nooses. All the violence you're seeing in the news, it is manifesting in the employment context. And why are we seeing it in the news, family? Because we've got cameras and can record it. We need an anti-Freedmen defamation league like 10 years ago. Because this is not happening to any other group. We're getting it from these Black immigrants. We're getting it from the Hispanics. We're getting it from the Asians. And we keep voting this into the country. In a state as diverse as, back to the text, in a state as diverse as California, offenders span all races and ethnicity, she said. 2 decades ago, discrimination was viewed as a Black-white paradigm, Park said. The feeling was minorities can't be discriminating. But it could be Asians discriminating. It could be Latinos discriminating. Regardless of what color you are, you don't get a free pass. Now, about 300 Black workers are gaining compensation, some as much as tens of thousands of dollars, through the Inland Empire settlements. Cardinal agreed to pay $1.45 million. Ryder and Kimco Staffing Services, which supplied workers to Ryder, settled for $1 million each. The warehouse operators and their staffing firms, including a Glendale temp agency, Apple One, which supplied workers to Cardinal, must offer extensive harassment training in English and Spanish and submit to stringent monitoring for verbal abuse, bias, and retaliation. Me speaking. Spanish should not be allowed. Spanish should not be allowed in American-owned businesses. If you're operating business in this country, Spanish should not be allowed. Only English. Because they're saying very abominable, abhorrent things about us, around us. Just learn Spanish and you'll come to understand the hate they hold for American freedmen. Back to the text. The LA Times contacted more than 24 current and former Latino workers from Cardinal and Ryder. None agreed to an interview. None of the Latino workers agreed to an interview. Nationwide EEOC records show prejudice can afflict any race or ethnicity, but Black victims predominantly. Over the last decade, the agency has won settlements in 171 race discrimination suits involving Black workers, 59 cases involving Latino victims, 12 involving Asian victims, and 6 involving white victims. 171 involving Black workers. So the agency tracks the race, and let me back that up. I'm going to unflatten Blackness here, because by and large, when you're dealing with these type of jobs with temporary placement, they're American freedmen. This is not the plight, by and large, of Black immigrants. And this is why I'm imploring upon you to disaggregate the data where you live, because they like to flatten Blackness and make it appear that we're all having this done to us. But I can promise you that Black immigrants, by and large, have more money, more education, and they're more in the corporate realm of discrimination against those of us who are comparable in education. Okay? This is not generally the Black immigrants' plight. When they talk about 171 racial discrimination suits on this level, that's by and large American freedmen. Back to the text. Though the agency tracks the race and ethnicity of victims, it does not compile official statistics on offenders. Why not? Nor are there databases of private cases categorized by perpetrator's race. Why not? This makes it hard to gauge the extent of anti-Black hostility from Latino workers. No, it doesn't. Just because you don't keep a record does not mitigate or absolve them of the bullshiggity. Because it's not just in the workplace. It's in our neighborhoods. That's coming up next. I'm almost at the hour. That's coming up next. But court filings, victims, allegations, and employer records show that in the last decade, about a third of anti-Black bias suits filed by the EEOC's Los Angeles and San Francisco offices involved discrimination by Latinos. About a third involved white offenders, and a third were unspecific. The suit against Cardinal Health and Apple One was graphic. That's another article. I'll save that for another day. I got to pull these things out and find other news outlets because LA Times wants me to pay. And I'm tired of paying for these things just to be able to have access to the news that I can get for free. Since at least 2016, the EEOC alleged Black workers were subjected to the N-word by coworkers and managers many times per day, including in Igbay, Igernay Igbay, lazy ass ninja, ain't did no work all day, and look at those ninjas looking like monkeys, working like slaves like they should be. The first worker to file a complaint described being called anti-Black slurs in English and Spanish, facing prejudice from a Latina supervisor, and being deliberately run over with a cart by a Latino coworker. Photos taken by Black workers showed a women's restroom defaced with graffiti. Ninjas stink up the aisles, and Black people stink. A men's restroom was defaced with ninja killer. In a court filing, Cardinal acknowledged derogatory graffiti, but said it was promptly removed. A spokesman declined to address other worker allegations, citing the EEOC's post-settlement statement. Cardinal Health and Apple One have put in place measures aimed at preventing discrimination and harassment. No, they haven't. And even if they have, just like E-Verify, it won't be adhered to. Apple One, which placed 1,000 workers at Cardinal over 2 years, said in a statement it, quote, did not control the workplace, but has implemented improvements to his policies ordered by the EEOC. On a sunny morning in Rialto, Simmons, wearing a dashiki revealing forearm tattoos of a mermaid and a panther, was perplexed that the abuse at Cardinal Health had come from Latino colleagues. He choked up as he described his ordeal. Good Lord. Growing up in Compton, Simmons had Mexican-American friends, and over decades at other jobs, forklift driver, custodian, security guard, quote, Hispanics, whether they liked you or not, they kept it to themselves, he said. As for the few white workers at Cardinal Health, quote, never no problem with them, he said. Apple One hired him to drive a cherry picker at Cardinal for $14 an hour. But he found black workers were largely kept off the vehicles. Those jobs were given to less experienced Latino workers, even when licensed black workers were first in line, he said. Instead, Simmons in his mid-50s was given a harder floor picker job for $12 an hour on his feet, loading boxes headed for Kaiser Permanente hospitals. Temperatures inside the warehouse often rose past 90 degrees, he said, me speaking. Is it starting to resemble slavery for American freedmen yet? Back to the text. It was 6 days a week, 14 to 16 hours a day, including mandatory overtime for $12 an hour, family. He saw Latino workers clocking out after 8 to 10 hours. But when black workers asked to leave after 14 hours, they were often threatened with termination, Simmons said. A Latino supervisor would make me clean up the trash while everybody else was sent home. After 3 months of complaining, Simmons was allowed to drive a cherry picker, but his pay remained $12 an hour. He said lower than that of non-black drivers. He grew angry and despondent. They'd write stuff on the bathroom walls. Gorillas go back to Africa. The black workers would cross it out. 2 days later, it would be right back. Simmons complained to Apple One and Cardinal managers. He said, but nobody investigated. Nobody cared. His Latina supervisor said, if you're up here complaining, the orders are not getting picked. Cardinal officials testified they received complaints about racial slurs, including graffiti with the N-word, but some emails documenting complaints and their responses were erased due to an auto-deletion policy, even after EEOC charges were filed. Black workers who complained started disappearing one by one, Simmons said. Quote, we find out they were fired. After 11 months, he was told, your assignment is over. No reason was given, he said. By then, Simmons had started going to a psychologist. During visits, I'd start shaking and crying, he said. He was put on antidepressants. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I got to keep going. By then, Simmons got another job as a security guard, but had to quit. The racism at Cardinal, he said, messed me up. Something popped in my head. I was still having night terrors, waking up screaming. Today, diagnosed with PTSD, Simmons is on disability. Anti-Black prejudice in Latino-dominated workplaces comes as no surprise to scholars of race relations. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm an empath. This stuff, to see us continue to vote blue no matter who, it's getting to me. It's getting to me. Or choosing to stay home while they go out in droves and determine this as our fate, as a line. It gets to me to think what's coming if we don't weaponize this vote. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. It's not being very strong or professional right now. Sorry. I'm going to try not to sorry. Tensions between Latinos and Black Americans have ebbed and flowed in Southern California over decades. Researchers point to a shared legacy of slavery in the U.S. and Latin America. An estimated 15 times more enslaved Africans were taken to Spanish and Portuguese colonies than to North America. Latino attitudes toward Black Americans can be tied not only to racism but to colorism, said Pew Research Center analyst Ana Gonzalez Barrera, an issue that also arises among other races. It goes back to colonial history's caste system. White Spaniards were at the top, Black and Indigenous at the bottom, and racial mixtures in between. Last para. I don't think so. Sorry, I thought so. In a 2021 survey, Pew asked U.S. Latinos how they identify themselves on a spectrum of skin color from light to dark and how skin color shapes their daily lives. 4 in 10 of those with darker skin said they experienced discrimination or unfair treatment by another Latino. The same portion who reported discrimination by a non-Latino. Nearly half said they heard racist comments from friends and family about other Latinos. Some Latinos identify as white or are seen as white, Gonzalez Barrera said. Latinos are a complex community, not one community, but many. For a forthcoming book, Racial Innocence, Unmasking Latino. Sorry, guys. For a forthcoming book, Racial Innocence, Unmasking Latino Anti-Black Bias in the Struggle for Equality, Tanya Kateri Hernandez, a Fordham University law professor, combed through legal records, interviewed U.S. civil rights leaders and attorneys, and traced the history of Latino workplace discrimination against Black people, including Afro-Latinos, highlighting scores of court cases. Anti-Blackness is a global phenomenon, said Hernandez, who is Afro-Latina. It's an uncomfortable truth, but belief in racial hierarchy is common in Latino communities like it is in others. Me speaking, and you see Joe Crow has allowed over 2 million in since he got elected. We're approaching 50 million. I want to say 50 million immigrants. Or is that, let me just get the numbers together for you guys. I don't like to misquote. I'm going to research how many Latinos are in this country to date. Professor Smiles, if you're free and can tell me the number of Latinos that are in this country present day, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I can keep reading. I'm just going to finish this article. I'm going to check in with you guys if you have on Twitter Space. If you've got questions or comments, please weigh in. Otherwise, I'll be in the ScrewTube chat to read your comments over there. Back to the text. Thank you, Professor. You can raise your hand when you have the information. Her scholarship focuses on the issue, she said, because opening our eyes to the ways Latinos are implicated is a huge step in trying to eradicate racism. How do we do that when folks like Eric Adams are putting them in luxury high-rise hotels while steamrolling the homeless encampments in New York, where 58% of us reside in homelessness? At every branch, this is being allowed. Back to the text. Manuel Pastor, director of USC's Dornsife Equity Research Institute, suggested that tensions can flare between Latinos and Black Americans, partly because they compete against each other in low-wage labor markets more than against white or Asian workers. Why is that, family? Because the white folks have killed and stolen all of our wealth. They have neutralized us economically vis-a-vis institutional systemic racism. The Asians have been imported, have money. They own beauty supplies and liquor stores and restaurants in our communities. These other groups are outpacing us in education. And because of affirmative action, they're getting positioned over us in the workplace. Not just in these low-wage labor markets. It's all throughout. Corporate with 3 Ks, America with 3 Ks. And we really have got to do akin to our ancestors and make a way out of no way and pull ourselves up by our bootless straps. That's what we're going to have to do. Okay. So Joe Crow knows this is going on. And instead of giving us our reparations and ending qualified immunity, where many of these racist Latinos are being hired so that they can harass and execute us with the same qualified immunity that white race soldiers are protected under. He chooses to flood the country with this. And like Dr. Claude Anderson has been saying for 40 years, we can't fight everybody. We don't have the manpower to fight everybody, especially now that we've been neutralized economically, as Joe Crow gives away our reparations and protections to the immigrants to replace us. Ergo, my Freedmen voter strategy. Vote closed border and reparations candidates only. Party be damned. Because if we stay home, these are the type of Crayola with 3 Ks, white supremacists that will show to the polls and determine our fate as a lineage. This isn't hard for me when folks sit up here and talk about how racist the repugnant clans are. Well, the Dixiecrats that remain in the Democratic Party, like Joe Crow, 6 one way, half a dozen of another, as far as I'm concerned. Makes me know, never mind. To me, our never-ending Holocaust is more fatal than whether or not Ron DeSantis hates black folk. I don't give a damn what you think or feel about me. I really do not. But I care deeply, as do you guys, what happens to American freedmen while Joe Crow allows us into the country to our peril. Back to the text. At unionized workplaces, labor leaders are working to bring black and brown employees together to push for better treatment, he said. Many warehouses like Cardinals and Riders are non-union sites with large temp workforces where employees lack advocates in the event of abuses. In a recent book, South Central Dreams, Finding Home and Building Community in South LA, Pastor and co-author Periet Handagnu Sotelo point to growing interracial acceptance and political coalitions when Black and brown residents live in close proximity. I'm going to bring you articles that contradict what they're talking about right here. We're going to have to move it over to tomorrow because this article is mad long and I want to finish it to memorialize it in this particular Day 8 broadcast of my series, Weaponize Our Vote. Back to the text. In the Inland Empire, the Warehouse Worker Resource Center is organizing across racial and ethnic lines to push for labor law enforcement. In Los Angeles, nonprofits such as the Community Coalition have built Black and Latino alliances to address racial disparities. I'm not concerned about how immigrants are faring in the country our ancestors built with their lives. I am really sick of the Black and brown thing. I am. To make Latinos more American than American freedmen. I'm sick of these agendas that conflate the issues when statistically we are the ones suffering the most across every category. Incarceration, homelessness, unemployment, underemployment, gentrification, miseducation. Back to the text. The Los Angeles Black Worker Center joined with the majority Latino Clean Car Wash Worker Center to support each other's economic justice campaigns. Quote, the fate of Black people and the fate of immigrant people are linked in the fight against exclusion and exploitation. As they, the immigrants, exclude and exploit us. We need to go our own way. AFGTOW, American freedmen going their own way. Because this is how we get lost in translation. Constantly having our never-ending Holocaust tied to these other groups as they get to come up right over our backs. It's not working, clearly. Back to the text. Oh, thank you, Professor. Go ahead and weigh in. Professor, he might be busy. Go ahead and interrupt me when you get back. And you can unmute your mic. As we look at schools, jobs, housing, the last thing our communities need is to be divided and fighting each other. Then why be importing them in droves before giving American freedmen the reparations and the quadrillions that were long overdue? The end to qualified immunity that we're long overdue. This has only been going on since the slave patrols. This has only been going on since the Africans traded us into slavery. No, I want our stuff untethered. EEOC's lawsuit back to the text. EEOC's lawsuit against Ryder and Kimco Staffing was similar to that against Cardinal Health and Apple One. At Ryder's warehouse were assemblies. Oh, you know what? I'm going to stop there. I'm going to pick this article. Oh, I'm going to keep reading. Sorry. It's getting into another story. Let me cut it. I don't want it to be too long. We're already over 2:00. I'll pick up this article. Let me copy and paste it because they like to shut me down if I'm not paying. And I want to read you guys these next. Oh, am I almost done? No. It's long, y'all. It is wicked long. I can't finish it right now, but I am going to copy and paste it so we can pick this up tomorrow. Okay. I want to see. Okay. Professor, you can jump in when you want. Let's go check in with the chat in ScrewTube and see what you all got to say about it so the Twitter space can hear from your brilliant minds. Stand by. I got to paste this in a new document so I can have it and not be kicked off because I'm not paying LA Times for the rest of this article. Okay, great. There it is. Let's come back.
I got the numbers for your sister.
Thank you so much. Please bless the mic with those numbers.
Okay. And I also went here and put the numbers over into the screw tube so they can see it over there.
Wonderful.
The numbers, y'all, and I'm telling you, it's going to probably just have you like roll, because these numbers are going to probably be more than what I'm going to tell you. At the census of 2020, they have the Latino population at 62.1 million. So that tells you that it's going to probably be way more than that with all these people that keep coming up in here.
Thank you so very, very much, Professor Smiles. 62.1 million by our vote. This was not happening to American freedmen under Donald Trump. Let's get into it. I'm only going to read and highlight the pertinent comments so we can close this broadcast out. And I'm going to do my best to bring you day 3 of an archived Twitter space that I was hosting when ScrewTube shut me down. Please know, family, I'm being shadow banned. I really need your help making my messages go viral. I really need you. Oh, we've got some love over in Twitter space. Let me let them speak. Oh, that's Kite. Okay, Kite, raise your hand if you've got something to say, and I will let you speak. I lost my train of thought. Our vote is allowing this. They got to 62.1 million because our people keep sheep walking to the polls to vote blue no matter damn who to our peril.
60.1 million and growing, sister. You got to make sure you put that in there now. 62.1 million and steadily climbing.
And Joe, thank you, brother. You're absolutely right. And Joe Crow wants to give 11 million more of them citizenship. 22 million is the number from TD Hip Hop Media that he wants to make citizens before the end of his tenure. And this Mickey Ficky got 18 more months to get it done. So add 22 million to the 60. What did you say? 60 million?
62.1 million.
Okay.
22.
Yes. 62.1 plus 22 is 84 million. Do you see what's going on with American Freedmen's Replacement right before your very eyes because of our vote? We delivered Joe Crow with 3Ks and Kabami with 3Ks this last election cycle. Let that sink in. Okay, I'm moving down. Let's see. What happened to the Black-Brown Coalition, says The Rock. That's only for convenience to get more of what is owed to us, family. You have to understand that these Latinas play both sides. All of them play both sides, even the Black immigrants. You've got that Nigerian professor who's been calling us Akata for 30 years, claiming to be an American freedman descendant of U.S. chattel slavery. She a full-blown Nigerian. Lots of them will claim Black American to get access to our institutions, our HBCUs. I've told you guys that the Trinidadian president of Howard is earning like $200,000 or greater per year. Okay, so it's a matter of convenience. When it's time to get everything that is owed to us in the way of jobs and education, they will claim to be Black American. They will claim to be African American to get what we're owed while we are dying on the vine. and will soon be neutralized in the vote the way we've been neutralized economically. We are out of time. Ain't no waiting to 2053 to be zero wealth. It's here. Thanks to the pandemic. Back to my comments. Oh, thank you, Insane Optimist. Just sent you a little something. Keep up the good work. Peace and blessings. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of you who have blessed the broadcast. Do know that your contributions help me to offset the cost of coming to you live. I have to pay for StreamYard, and it costs me a lot of time to put these broadcasts together for you, combing through articles and things of that nature. So your contributions to my channel enables me to continue edutaining the masses and advocating for reparations and an end to qualified immunity and the weaponization of our vote and the socialization of our suffering. So every little bit is very, very appreciated. Thank you. Make me a mod, sis. Okay, I sure will. I don't know how to do it through StreamYard. I'm going to have to get with Kite, DJ Segwan, to figure out how to do it through ScrewTube. And then that way you'll be a mod and be able to control the room and all the trolls. The Rock says, sis, I love going after the trolls, so make me a mod. Oh, it's going down. Didn't you Gmail me? Okay, if you want to be a mod, please Gmail me at thereperspect@gmail.com. Thereperspect@gmail is scrolling in the bar below so I can get through the comments. We must move from race and move to lineage. You're absolutely correct. Hi, Marjorie. It's okay, Angela. Let it all out, sis. Oh, thank y'all for the virtual hugs in the ScrewTube. I just love me some y'all. It gets heavy. As I know, it gets heavy for a lot of us in this movement. We are the little engine that could, you know? You're okay. We can't help it if God made us with emotions and feelings. Amen to that, sis. I'm glad he made me that way, but I don't like being such a crybaby when I'm going live. It messes up my makeup. Hi, Easy Axe, recovering Pan-Africanist. I love your name. Yes, lots of Pan-Africanists need to come back home to American freedmen and stay there. That needs to be your permanent square. Hello, Angela. Greetings to the chat. I'm just here for the real. You know it, babe. Thanks for being here. Y'all make me laugh. Okay. Let's see. Easy Axe has some good stuff. Let's see what he's got. She's got. Is it she or he? Y'all, please forgive me. I'm just going to say Easy Axe. I just heard today the state of California is starting a college savings fund for all children under the age of 10 born in the state, targeting low-income children, and they don't have to be citizens. Ooh, to Jesus, more puckery to bring y'all. Easy Axe, recovering Pan-African. Can you please Gmail me if you have an article, any and all of you, if you want to get the reparationist perspective about it, please Gmail me what you want me to cover, whatever topic you want me to cover, to make as long as the topic makes the case for reparations and the weaponization of our vote and socializing our suffering. Please Gmail it to me so I can do some research and bring you the real, okay? And as Professor Smiles shared with us, according to the census numbers, Latino and Hispanics are at 62.1 million and growing at a rate of 23%. You got to ask yourself, would this be happening had we elected Trump? And do you think this is going to lighten up if we stay home, smugly demanding no tangibles, no vote? You ain't got nothing coming. And if you stay home and allow more of this into the country, then you get what you get, and you ain't got no reason to complain. And don't cry to me, Argentina. Okay? Back to the comments. So, dear Angela, hi, Carolyn. Will you please expound on your view of us as Black Americans going back south? I have heard you mention why do this if we're going to be powerless. That's it, and that's all. Why? I don't understand what our numbers matter if we can't have power, if we can't get reparations candidates elected. What's the point? I might as well be in California, where I love to be. I love California. I'm talking about a lot of puckery in California, and I am a victim of it. That's how I came to be in this reparations space. I figured if this can happen to me, homeowner, six-figure income earner with a myriad of experience in corporate with 3 Ks, education, if Wells Fargo could get rid of me and everybody like me in upper level management, what in the world is happening to the majority of my tribe? That's how I got here. But I love being here. And I don't see, we have the numbers, but the numbers to do what? Vote for the Democrats? I don't, until somebody gives me a solid plan, I'm not really for us uprooting our lives, because I think it's to move across the country is very expensive.
Oh, sister, let's add to that now. Remember, in the South, Blacks are, we are growing population here because a lot of people are coming back home.
But do you have power?
Remember, a lot of white people are also moving back this way too.
But do you have power? You got numbers in a lot of those major city states. Take Atlanta. You got the numbers, and they building a whole police military camp to come up in there and ethno-genocide our people with qualified immunity. You got Stacey Abrams that won't even say black because it's not advantageous to her career. You got Raphael Warnock that won't even talk reparations. He ain't talking nothing, and y'all majority black already down there in the ATL. So please share with the reparationist perspective how more of us coming down there is going to change anything for us. Professor?
Definitely not, because we definitely don't have any power base here. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, wherever you want to name the South, we don't have any power base here. So I understand, I see a lot of blacks are coming back here, but we don't have the power base here.
And that's my point, Miss Carolyn Harvey. Thank you so much, Professor, for weighing in. That's my point. Don't uproot me from the lovely beaches and the impeccable weather without humidity. Where God has blessed me to be able to luxuriate. If I have to bear this dreadful puckery, at least let me do it in a place I love being. I don't feel this kind of racism on a day-to-day basis. I don't. But it's happening. So I have to report about it because I need you to weaponize your vote. But on a day-to-day basis, I don't feel like my blackness is a crime down here. The people are rather lovely in my community. I don't feel like I tense up when my daughter or myself drives by the police. I don't feel that way. So why would I uproot myself to come there and be with a bunch of us, although I love being with us? That's not my point. But a bunch of us with no power is going to just piss me off even more than I'm already pissed off. I mean, what's the point in that? That's how I feel about it. If somebody can show me a solid plan, how they intend with growing the numbers to gain some power, when we can't even get on the same page about not continuing to vote blue no matter damn who. I literally have had to leave organizations because we are in opposition to the way this vote should go down. They don't like my Freedmen voter strategy. They intend to continue to vote blue no matter who, no matter how much I scream up and down about the ethno-genocidal plans of the Democratic Party. All they want to do is continue to rub elbows with the Democrats and want me silenced. So I've had to break away from everyone and go my own way. That's what I'm doing. I'm the lone wolf. You don't hear any other people talking about this strategy. So please know, that's how important this strategy is to me. And my thing is, if we can't even get on the same page to bring the Democrats to their knees, and folks want to keep telling me to have conversations with folks who ain't interested in talking and in 60 years have made us the anchor of this country's capitalism, there is nothing more to talk about. I don't care how much puckery I show them that's coming out of the Democratic Party. They want to play nice and they believe they can have conversations. That's when I've got to divorce and go my own way. And do what I got to do. And build what I'm trying to do to critical mass. Because reparations, you ain't got nothing coming if you don't bring these Democrats to their knees for several election cycles. I will tell you when my inner Christ says, okay, they've cried uncle long enough and they're waving the white flag. My inner Christ, just like it told me about the Freedmen voter strategy, will tell me when it's time to get our proverbial boot up off the jugular of the Democrats once we get them on their knees. The vote is immediate. It's in a couple months. We don't have time for reparations. There's other things we need to be doing. Yes, keep your foot on reparations, but you got to look up and start thinking in terms of lawsuits on the state and federal levels for allowing this to come in and impeding on our rights. So it is what it is. Easy Acts Recovering Pan-African. That article is really eye-opening. Damn, Yvette was right. Black Americans going to be taking orders and ruled over by immigrants, especially Latinos. She was the one to tell us to go out here and vote blue down the ticket. This is how we got here. Why weren't we advised to vote for closed border candidates? We went out here and voted blue down the ticket, myself included. I voted Green Party at the top, but I voted blue down the ticket. And we have been further integrated into a burning building while she sits up here and is right, but integrates us into an even more burning building. It's despicable. I'm hotter than fish grease, and I even listened to her. I know better now. But Republicans and Democrats are both responsible for immigrants fleeing the country. Yes, Easy Acts, but as I've mentioned in quite a few of my lives, that it's time to cut the paychecks of the Democrats. They are the ones whom the majority of our electorate have been the lapdogs for. They are the ones, ergo, that owe us reparations. Are they doing any of that with the trifecta? Then why do we keep rewarding them with the vote? I'm not screaming at you, baby. I'm screaming at this situation. And the Republicans, albeit, are in on it because they too benefit from the corporate with 3 Ks lining their pockets to allow wages to be suppressed by our replacement. But what I've shared is that the Republicans were once the guillotine, and the Democrats were the gas chamber. Both parties suck, let's be clear. This is not about liking either party. It ain't a party personality contest here. It's about a Freedmen flourishing thing. So I can tell you, between the two despicable parties, the Republicans have more closed border in America First candidates over there than the Democrats. And that's the voter strategy. I've always said, I've never talked party. I said to vote for closed border and reparations candidates, party be damned. Because they both suck. But tragically, immigration is our most imminent threat. And I've been on this series for 8 days, and I'm not coming off the gas on this series. Because when you vote blue, no matter who, it's to our replacement. It's to our extinction. Look at what Joe Crow is doing. Now, if Marcel is correct, we're around 65 to 70 million. We've been underreported and understated per the census, which the census admits to. I'll bring you that in another broadcast. Which means that 62.1 million already, they're on the precipice. If Joe Crow gives 22 million more citizenship, will be totally outnumbered. Totally. And neutralized in the vote. Because who do you think they're more prone to vote for? The Democrats, who are giving them our reparations and protections, or the Republicans? So yes, I agree, Easy Axe. Both parties suck. This ain't a party thing. It is a protest vote to bring the Democrat Dixiecrats to their knees for several election cycles and to cut off their millions of dollars in paycheck, in lobby money. And please don't tell me our vote doesn't matter and it does not count. If it didn't matter and it didn't count, why do we need the Voter Right Act? Well, right now, the Voter Right Act is being weaponized to enable illegals the right to vote in federal elections. I'll bring you that on another broadcast. Can't get into that right now. We're really running out of time. I don't like these things to go over 2 hours. So yeah, this is a protest vote. It is the weaponization of the American Freedmen vote. To find, look under rocks, I don't care what party they're in. If they are closed border or a reparations candidate, please give them your vote. That is the Freedmen voter strategy. It doesn't matter what party they're in. Carolyn says, that is us going back to certain states in large numbers. Yeah, American freedmen are having to leave places like California and New York because we've been legislated out. They're using the dollars to give our reparations away. They're giving reparations and protections even on the state level. So we're being legislated out. It's not that they want to go. And I'm going to tell you some horrors of what's happening with that quote unquote black-brown coalition down here in Southern California. I'll bring you more of that tomorrow as we finish out that other article. Hi, Patricia. Is that right? Lord, I don't have my Walmart readers. It looks like Patricia Woodard. And we keep aborting our babies. And guess what? The Democrats are all for that. That's a part of their ethnogenocidal plans to extinct us to as few in number as the Indians. They're doing it to the LGBTQIAXYZ agenda. Got an article that I'm going to share with you about. Hopefully we'll get to it. So much to share, but listen, this is my wheelhouse. While I've got time, I hope to be able to continue coming to you daily, but it's challenging, working full time to come every day. But I at least will, try to get to you at least once a week if I have to dial back due to work. This is why I'm working really hard to lean on you guys to support the channel so that I can bring you this insight and share with you politically and strategize with you politically full time. That's what I would love to be doing. But I need your help. Because I'm being shadow banned, honey. They're not going to let this thing. Folks ain't even getting their notifications. Anyway. We have to stop. See, you see the left-leaning liberal Democrats are angry about an end to abortion, which hasn't ended. The states are in control of that. But they're all up, pennies are in a bunch because on the federal level it's been ended. And tragically, I'm really pleased with our response. We ain't gotten to this white woman's fight, okay? Because that's really what it's all about. They wanted to control the wombs of their white women who, abortion is not even their thing as much as they're infertile. Okay? So abortion clinics, are in our communities. And Latinos don't believe in abortion like that. They'll have 10 babies they'll pop out before they'll do abortion because it is their role and their intent to take over. They're going to take over the country. That's what they're intending. And I already shared with you earlier that their intent is to rain down a hell of white supremacy unseen by our white supremacists. The kind that Joe Crow loves to import into the country. The ones that hate us in a very, very diabolical way. It has nothing but our end in mind. The Proud Boys was headed by a Latino. Okay. Patricia goes on to say, they steal an election and they get 2 more years? I don't think so. Honey, primaries too. Trump, she says, Trump won, the Democrats cheated. Child, I put nothing past the Democrats. Nothing. And that was easy to do during the pandemic as far as I'm concerned. YVOC Info says, the article appears to equalize Latinos with FBA a la slavery. However, Latinos do not have the same lived experience of FBA in the U.S. You're right, YVOC. Thank you for joining the live, my love. This is why I'm telling you that they have tethered more immigrants onto the tit for us to be concerned about. And when you've got your energy spread out all over the place concerning yourself about their children crying at the border, it's a distraction from them executing unarmed freed men, women, and children right next door. So yes, this is what I mean by the Latinos love to tie themselves to our never-ending Holocaust when it benefits them financially, when it benefits them to get tangibles. And then they love to identify with whiteness when they want to rain terror on us. Everywhere. And in every way. Make sure she is Black American, 10 toes deep to be a mod. Absolutely, family. Will do. Oh, thank you, Easy X. Listen, I'm going to have to vet the mods. Per Easy X, they got to show their papers. We got to make sure they're American freedmen through and through. FBA, B1, ADOX, BADOX. They got to bleed a descendant of U.S. chattel slavery to be a mod. Amen to that. Okay, so let's see what Carol has to say. But what can we do if the Democrats are cheating and winning these elections, just as we suspect of the Joe Crow Trump campaign in 2020? Please, your opinion, or have you ever thought of this? I have thought of it, sweetheart. That's the Freedmen voter strategy. When you've been neutralized economically, you can't pay for your politics. You can't buy your politricks. You can't pay for your politrickians, okay? Trickians. You can't pay for that. And they're going to steal. They stole from Marcel Dixon recently. They stole from Tamara Johnson Shealy. It's a fact. It's a fact. So what you can do is to continue to support the reparationist candidates so that we can keep our reparations claims, our justice claim, forefront of the nation. Marcel has been interviewed by the Time magazine. That's how much levity he got in only 6 months. So when you contribute towards his campaign and his Cash App to help him live, okay, you must contribute to his Cash App because he has no employment. He's using his retirement to run for office again in 24. And that Cash App is $ son of the Sea Islands, SEA, islands with an S. It's in the description bar when the film renders today, okay? I put it on every description bar. Patricia said, it's too hot in the South. I'll melt. I need a state that has 4 seasons. Sorry. Well, California ain't for you, my love. I love being in 80, on the average 75 degrees where I live with no humidity year round. I don't give a damn about a winter or summer in the East or the South. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. The Midwest. California. Carolyn says, I love California as well. I don't like being surrounded by devils, though. I agree with you about California. Baby boo. There is no place in this country that you can run from the devils. They're still in the South, too. If I got to deal with a devil, I'd rather be on the beach. Okay. Like I said, on the average, our temperatures are 75, 80, even 85 sometimes. No humidity. And because I live near the water, I get the ocean breeze. Patricia says, I went to college in Alabama, and my parents were from Arkansas. And the bugs and the heat were unbearable. Amen, Patricia. Amen. Same in the Midwest, honey. Those mosquitoes ate me alive. Do you hear me? Between scratching and mopping up my face for the humidity, it's just all bad. I've gotten acclimated after 20 years of being in California, and I love it here. I really do. So, no, I'm not moving back south. Now, I may get property there because I can't afford, I'm priced out of getting any more property here, you know? So I am absolutely thinking of buying property, but it's more in the DMV area. It wouldn't be in the South, maybe North Carolina. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, to live there, I don't think so. Blacks are moving back south because it's more affordable for some, right? Patricia is right. Too many freaks in the Democratic Party. Yeah, and they're sweeping it all up under the rug, right? Look at what happened with Ghislaine Maxwell, and I can see his face. I can't call the man's name. They done sealed the records, honey. You're not gonna be able to find out all the politicians that were over there on that freaky island. All of that gets. Who was it, darling?
Jeffrey Epstein.
Thank you. Jeffrey Epstein. They're hiding all of their dirt. Oh my God, I got to make sure I write down. Let me do it right now, y'all. I want to bring you an article about incarceration of low-level drug offenders being up 25%. I got to make a note, y'all. Lord, hold on. Yeah. While Joe Crow's son, Hunter Crackhead Biden, gets a pass. I got to make sure I cover that. What kind of people scream and holler? Patricia says, what kind of people scream and holler about murdering babies and grooming little kids? That's what we continue to vote for when we continue to vote blue, no matter damn who, to our people's peril. Back to Professor, he shared that was Jeffrey Epstein's island. You ain't heard, they done got rid of Ghislaine, and now the records have been sealed about all the nefariousness happening on the Epstein Island, all the pedophilia that was going down, allegedly. I have to say that word before they get rid of my channel again. Yeah, they've hidden those records. You won't be able to see the names of those politicians who were involved in Epstein Island. They won't be tried. Thumbs up. Yes, baby. When you guys do thumbs up in the screw tube, it impacts the algorithm so more people will learn about my message, okay? We want to do that. We want the message to go viral. Patricia says, I voted Green Party too, but I am voting Repugnant Clan because they align with my values, God, guns, low taxes, pride for my country, freedom. Very good, Patricia. Yeah, I'm done voting third party because they don't stand a snowball's chance in hell. My missile is very direct to bring the Democrats to their knees, and I believe that's true of most American freedmen. We're more closely conservative than we are this left-leaning liberal, let everybody be freaky and do this, that, and the third, and, you know, yeah, immigration ad nauseum to our own replacement. Yeah, we're not really for all of the left-leaning liberal agendas. They're just basically weaponizing American freedmen never-ending Holocaust to give our reparations and protections to all these other groups. Because those groups are winning at our expense. I know you're not screaming at me, honey. I love your fire. Thank you, Easy Axe, for not being in your bag. You don't know how sensitive folks can be in these spaces. I appreciate you. Patricia says close borders. Absolutely. Vote in person. Oh, this is critical, Patricia. Woo-wee. Thank you. So in addition to defecting from the Democratic Party family when you go and file independent, you must do that in droves. You must vote closed border and reparations candidates, party be damned, at every branch of government henceforth until my spirit moved me to be on a different campaign to let them back in to cut those checks in the quadrillions. Patricia said the third and vitally important thing here, especially if you're going to do the Freedmen voter strategy, don't you dare mail it in. Don't you dare. Vote in person on election day. Don't mail it. I don't even know. Patricia put in the chat if they should go in advance because you know they have these advance days leading up to the election day. I think I'm just going to make that day the day I go on election day. They are playing with the voting booths. They are playing with the mail. Y'all, she is right about this. Go and vote in person. Find out in your neck of the woods what it takes for you as an independent to participate in the midterms and in the general. They are changing things up. I remember last election cycle, I tried to vote in the, what do you call it? Before the actual general election. Is that midterms? No. Lord, I can't recall. Sorry, y'all. I can't recall. But it's, the primaries. I think that's what they're called when it's federal. Guys, forgive me. I went to vote in the primaries. And because I was independent, they would not let me vote out here in California. To my knowledge, that was the first time that ever happened. So you must Google how elections are run in your neck of the woods and how it works even specifically for independents. Because guess what these slick Democrats were trying to do? They were trying to make me switch my affiliation to the Democrats at the primaries. I waited online like an immigrant trying to get into the country for 3 hours, only to be told in order for me to vote in the Democratic primary, because remember, I told y'all YC integrated us even deeper and steeper into this burning house because she had us run out here to vote blue down the ticket. I waited 3 hours on that line only to be turned away because I refused to change my affiliation. Could not vote in the primaries, y'all. So please, please, please know what's up in your neck of the woods. Patricia says, they steal your mail in an early votes and don't use the Sharpies. Take a black pen. Okay, she's saying that they steal your mail. They steal your mail-in and your early votes. And they don't, and not to use the Sharpies. Take a black pen with you. Ooh, child, the ghetto. Oh, my God. Satra Delry 360 weighing in. We do not have the numbers yet. Atlanta is neck and neck, black and white. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought, well, I still don't think it's going to make a difference, sweetheart. If you beg to differ, I'd love to see you make your argument. Maynard.
Atlanta's majority black.
Satra, I have professors saying that Atlanta's majority black, which is what I thought. Professor, you know how we do. Professor, could you tell the numbers of the blacks and whites down there for me while I continue with the comments here?
Yeah, I'm looking it up now, sister. Hold on one second.
I appreciate you. He's going to get right back to us with the data. I don't really deal well in speculation. I like that hardcore numbers. So we're about to find out. Okay, she goes on to say Maynard is the only good mayor of Atlanta. Those in Georgia are sleep black citizens. That's another thing. That's another thing. While the movement is working on these elaborate plans to migrate back to the South, and the movement is focused on reparations, who is going to be there to focus on the short-term solutions of lawsuits and the weaponization of the vote? That's my lane. That's my lane. I want immediate solutions. I don't have time for sleepy black folks who sheep walk to the polls to continue to vote blue no matter who to our peril. I don't have time. That's going to take a lot of time because once you get them back down there, now you got to get them to believe in reparations candidates with no money. You're still powerless. Anyway. Patricia says abortion is a choice, not a right. Absolutely. I think that if people want to choose to do that, it should be their choice. But by the same token, I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it won't be federally funded anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I'm not a proponent of us getting abortions because it's extincting our line. I posted on my Facebook page about Simone Biles being given up for adoption. Look at what she's become. Now, with that level of greatness that she operates on and 20 plus million black babies given back to God, you know, because they start, I think, since 73. I don't even know what the numbers are currently because we've been weaponizing those numbers to get us to stop. So they won't even report on the numbers. And they won't tell you how many are for rape versus how many are being used as a form of birth control. So I am with Congressman Greg Marcel Dixon. I'm not just about pro-birth. I'm a real pro-lifer, unakin to the repugnant clans. They want you to have babies to put into the not so new slavery, private prison industrial complex, or to use our children as target practice. Because capitalism requires a bottom caste. So when they're thinking in terms of stopping or ending abortion, federally funded abortion, they're not thinking about our line flourishing. Because if you were really pro-life, you guarantee those reparations in the quadrillions over several lifetimes. If you was really pro-life, you'd make sure that Black women and men did not have to make decisions to abort their seed because they could afford to feed them. So all you're about is pro-birth, and you're not really about pro-birth where we're concerned, unless you can use us for target practice or imprison us. You're really about pro-birth because you want the white race that is diminishing due to infertility, namely. You want that to be able to happen. You want to get your numbers up. And because you can't do it fast enough, you are importing nothing but Crayola with 3 Ks, white supremacy, into the country to take up where you leave off. I'm with Marcel. I'm about pro-life and affording our men and women to be able to procreate and leave generational inheritable wealth to the line. So, back to the text in the chat. Satra says, if 22% return home, along as 66% plus 22% equals 88%. The numbers will allow us to put local officials in office. No money, but voting power. Return, so will give us that protest vote. Okay. What do you think about that, Professor Smiles? He might be busy. Okay.
Okay, I'm bad, sister. Say that again. I'm sorry.
I'm
still checking on the number.
That's okay. Sasha Delby 360 says, if 22% return home, along with the 66%, that's 88%, and that the numbers will allow us to put local officials in office. No money, but voting power. Return, so will give us that protest vote.
I disagree, because the problem is you still got the white population here that controls everything. They control the election power. They control the police forces. They control the state legislatures. They control all of the stuff that we would need to take over. And see, that's the problem. If you don't have people in those different areas in those power positions, you're not taking over anything. Plus, we don't have the money. Let's just be honest. 86% of the wealth in this country, y'all, is white people. Unfortunately, Black people are not anywhere close to white people when it comes to generational wealth, especially here in the South. You got to have that to take over. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I think you do have to have the money, right, to take over.
Well, you absolutely need money. I mean, I hear you when it comes to the vote, but I still believe, Satra, that it is a long-term goal, and we're out of time. I think that in time we could amass power, but we can't do it as quickly as they're seeking to replace us, because not enough of us are awake.
That is. A lot of us are still lost. That's why we ain't gonna be able to do it. There it is right there. Sister, to Atlanta. Atlanta is majority Black, but where the white population still have some control in that area is the outskirt area, the suburban areas that they like to call Gwinnett, Fulton, all those areas that they consider on the outskirts. That's where the white population has, of course, moved into, and they control those suburban areas. But in the city or the metropolitan Atlanta, the majority is black at 47%. Or they putting us somewhere between 47 to 50%. So that's where we are the majority at within that city.
Okay, well, there you have it, family. We've got, and it's not just Atlanta where we do have majorities and no power. These Mickey Fickies are going to, someone wants to speak. Let me see, who is this? Okay. I don't understand your symbols. Did you want to bless the mic? You've been made a speaker.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, there's 300 nonpartisan positions across this country that I don't think, and some of which, like Louisiana, for example, their agriculture commissioner, that's a nonpartisan primary. And they don't even have anybody signed up, and that's in 2023. So there's a lot of positions that I think that if we are tactical about which ones that we go after, you can almost even semi-make them national campaigns if you do it on the state level. And you know what I'm saying? You can do like social media, t-shirts, even what you're doing right now on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I think we should focus more on roles that give us some kind of tangible goods as opposed to just senators and House reps, because at the end of the day, senators and House reps are national. And that might not be to everybody's interest. But if you tell me that you can open the door so we can grow some hemp or something, then that might open somebody's eyes or attention. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's just 300 positions. I didn't know there was that many nonpartisans across the country. And the governor usually picks a lot of those roles, but some of those roles are electable. And so, like I said, the agriculture commissioner in Louisiana, that's just wide open. Ain't nobody even doing nothing with it. And that's a pretty powerful position.
Hey, Art, are you talking about positions like the Public Service Commission, those type of positions?
I'm talking about anything that the government, in most states, the governor decides stuff, that those positions, like superintendent for education and different stuff like that. Those are a lot of times those get decided, they're not elected. Although I think that one actually is elected. But any position that can be elected that is a state executive should be a focus for us, because it's tangible goods at a state level, which means it's easy for you to do campaigns that are national in regards to state level, especially if you're dealing with agriculture, because of anything that can better our situation. And the reason why I mentioned Louisiana is because it's 30% black. And on the state level, that matters. See what I'm saying?
I do. I hear you.
We definitely need to get more into the state elections, because we heard ourselves there too. Black people historically have never voted well in the state elections, which we need to change that too. For sure.
Oh yeah.
It just don't seem like, I'm not saying don't do the national. We've been doing the national, so let's do whatever you've been doing for that, like normal routine. I'm saying we need to make an effort to go for these state campaigns, because if we can get one good state, like let's say even we focus in Marcel brought up Chris Nullums in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Say we get him in, and he can open the door for a couple people to get in South Carolina and grow this hemp. They can ship that all across the country. See what I'm saying? So, like, it is kind of a national thing when you get in some of these roles.
Thank you for blessing the mic. Let's see here. Go ahead. It looks like Clarence Thomas.
How are you today, sister?
Blessed and unstoppable. How are you?
I am blessed. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just want to piggyback. Let me just say I love your spaces and the information that you bring forward. Very enlightening.
Thank you.
Absolutely. But I want to kind of piggyback on what that brother is saying from a strategic standpoint about positioning ourselves as Black people in elected roles. I always tell people is you should never run for Congress the first time you run for office unless you have $1 million cash already, right? Unless you have $1 million, you're going to lose. It takes a lot of money to be competitive at the congressional level, let alone win, right? And so, as the brother said before me, we need to focus locally first. All politics is local. We talk about these national conversations, but the rubber hits the road for your everyday life at the local level, county commissioner, city council, school board, those type of positions, justice of the peace, judges, things of that nature, right? And so the numbers say that I think 70% of people in Congress were in their local state house first, right? So the state house is the breeding ground for going to Congress, right? So if you want to get to Congress, you got to start at your state house first. And those state house races don't take a lot of money to win. You probably can raise $30,000, and that's enough for you to win a local state house race, right? Or run for city council in your city. That may take $20,000, maybe depending on the size of your city, right? But we get caught up in these national conversations, and we have the passion to run, and then we go out there and we face a juggernaut. And, you know, especially you can't take too many losses as a candidate. If you lose too many times, you kind of lose your steam. So we have to be very strategic. And I think we can build something locally if we can't begin to get smart and put our dollars in those local positions where it may only take 2,000 votes to win, opposed to going after trying to get 200,000 or 1 million votes to win at the congressional level, and you're going against incumbents and things of that nature, right? So I just want to make that point that we should focus more locally and kind of build up to those congressional spaces. And I'll land the plane.
I appreciate that. Thank you for blessing the mic. I did want to ask you a question. I happen to believe that we're out of time. And I believe that running akin to how Marcel Dixon is running, even if he doesn't win, that we win as a reparations movement for getting national attention on the failures of Jim Clyburn in District 6, South Carolina, with Marcel out there campaigning and doing his thing on that level, running against Jim Clyburn. That's a big deal. And it enables him to be able to go after a Jim Clyburn, even though he was doing it long before he threw his hat in the ring. I've got it in the archives where he was at some town hall and put in work on Jim Clyburn's head, okay? But with him running against the whip, I think it brings national and international attention and awareness to what we're doing here. So I believe that it's worth, I don't care how many times he's got to run to win. I believe that it keeps reparations forefront and center. Do you disagree with that as a strategy?
I think that's a great question. I think that it depends on what your goal is. Like, there are some people that can run and they know they're not going to win, but they're running to push an agenda and a certain message and keep those other candidates who may win honest and keep that in the conversation. So that could be the strategy, right? But if your goal is to win, you better put yourself in a winnable race, right? And I think Marcel is brilliant. I think Marcel has the passion. I think Marcel is a great candidate. But I do think Marcel is in the wrong race to win. And you can say what you want to say about Clyburn. I think he does have his shortcomings, right? But he's the whip. And he has millions of dollars at his disposal. He has tons of name ID that is difficult for anybody. Even Bakari Sellers can't beat the whip, right? The whip will retire. He's not going to get beat by anybody. That's just being frank about it. And so could Marcel position himself in another race and still push reparations, right? Because when you're running for Congress, you don't have to live in a district. So maybe he could position himself in another race when it's probably more winnable for him and still push his reparations platform. It just depends on what your goal is. Do you want to win or are you just pushing a message, or is it both? But I think, we shouldn't compile our resources in such a place where we know we can't win. We can put those resources in places where we do have an opportunity to win. So it just depends on what your goal is. If your goal is just to push a message, okay, achieve your goal. If it's to win, put yourself in a winnable race.
Thank you for your response. I don't believe that American freedmen have the luxury of choice in the matter. I believe we have to do both.
Can I add on to both of you saying?
Sure.
On a county and city level, in my humble opinion, that's whatever. Like I've seen people that I grew up with win those positions. So I don't even think that's what I'm talking about. I think at the state level and utilizing certain states for certain positions, like Marcel's state, South Carolina, I think he should personally run against the whip, because if he loses, I think we should be going for two positions. So we should be trying to nationally push the agriculture commissioner position in Chris Nolan's, and because Marcel already has the national attention. But I think that is enough because they know each other, for one, and for two, it's the same state, and for three, if Marcel runs as a Democrat and he doesn't win the Democratic primary, he can go into Chris Nolan's party and still get into the final one. You see what I'm saying? Which is even more exposure. So if you look at it as more as marketing and sort of like a decoy to the real position you're trying to get, because if I'm being perfectly honest, and I even told Marcel this, I'm like, Marcel, how many people are in the position you're trying to get? And he said, a lot. Now, how many people are in Chris Nolan's position? There's only 12 in the country. You see what I'm saying? You see the difference?
Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you, sister.
Thank you so much. I tried putting y'all's voices on Bluetooth because right now I got the phone up to the laptop so that my subs in ScrewTube can hear you. I thank you so much for blessing the mic. Thank you so much for your responses. It's a 3:17, and I don't want to. I would love to read all the comments, guys, because y'all have been really active, and I thank you so much. When you guys go to watch the ScrewTube archive, please turn on the chat and see some of the amazing, brilliant minds over here. Hold on one second. Somebody else wants to speak. Hi, Lisa. Lisa? Uh-oh. Okay, did you want to? Hi, Lisa. Go ahead and bless the mic. I'm about to wrap, my love.
I'm glad you didn't cut me off yet. I put it in the YouTube chat. There's 3 comments that I put in there to make other people aware. You do not have to switch parties. That's number one. I learned that from the Board of Election, when I went to work for them in my area in New Jersey. Under the United States Constitution and the Voting Rights Act, you do not have to switch parties in order to vote Republican or whoever you want to vote for. That's your choice. So I have done this, and I have voted for a Republican, and I'm still a Democrat, and your votes still get counted. So it was never told to us. So that's how come we had the mindset of always voting Democrat, because it was never explained. But they explain it at the Board of Elections. You could call it in any of your states and ask that question, and they're going to tell you, yes, you can. If you remember, when most of us did green for Jill Stein, and then all of a sudden she started giving her our votes to, Hillary. And that didn't work out because they're all connected, though. The Democrats is connected to the Independents and the Green Party, period. And if we did our history, we'll realize that our parents were Republicans. And why was that? Because they rather look at the person in their face than have somebody backstabbing. And I think we should just all start with Republican, or just like what you said, who meets our agenda. And that's all I have to say. And it is still the law. It has not changed. You do not have to change your party. And still, you can vote for a different party when you behind the, when you go to vote.
Well,
just investigate it.
Thank you, Lisa, so much. Like I mentioned, that was a primary here in California. And they would not allow me to be an independent and vote in that last primary. That was the first time that had ever happened to me in the 20 years I've lived here. And they told me that I could switch to the Democratic Party and then go back to being an independent. They were giving me the license to do that, but they absolutely insisted that I change parties in order to vote in the Democratic primary.
No, that's a lie. Check with the Board of Education. I mean, I keep saying education because I do it to schools with kids, but for elections.
Can I offer?
And can I step in also?
Go ahead, Hassan, because I figured you got this. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tom. I just want to correct something. So everyone should check their individual state, because what she's referring to is the federal level. In each one of your states states have the right. Here in the state of Maryland, we are a closed state when it comes to voting. So thank you. So as Angela is explaining, when you're voting in the primaries to determine what candidate is going to receive that party's endorsement, you have to be party specific. Once that election is over, then yes, you can vote regardless if you're independent, Republican, or Democrat. You can vote in the full election, in this instance, the midterm election, and you can push the button for whomever you desire. But when it comes to us determining who's going to be the party endorsement, your state does absolutely have the right, and the state of Maryland is one of them, that requires that you are party specific in order to vote in that primary. That's all I wanted to clarify.
And I live in California, and we, just like the reparationist perspective, we are a closed primary state. So your ballot is issued based on how you are, what party you are affiliated with. So if I'm a registered Democrat, there will be no Republicans on my primary ballot. So you have to check the election rules of your state. It varies. I'm not sure if Jersey is one. They must not be if you were able to vote. However, but we wouldn't even get a Republican option if I'm registered as a Democrat for the primary.
And that stands true for the state of Maryland as well.
And I just want to add. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I was talking about, and my focus was federal. Okay, I do understand about the state, because it does usually go by if your city is all Democrat, blah, blah, So I get that. But I was talking about the federal level.
Right, but even voting for presidential in the primary, say I wanted to vote for Donald Trump in the primary, if I'm a registered Democrat, he would not even be on my ballot in the primary.
That's right. She's right.
So that's
exactly because the thing on mine. Tyra is absolutely right, because the key is, it's not about whether it's the federal level or the state level. It's about your state as it relates to the primary elections, when they are determining, for those who may not know what a primary election is, when they are determining what party is going to endorse what candidate. And that doesn't matter if it's state or federal. As far as the candidate goes, the point is, if you're running a primary election and you want to vote in it, you need to make sure that you check with your state Board of Elections to see if you are a state that is allowed to have an open primary election versus a closed one.
Alabama is a closed primary, so it, just like you ladies are explaining there, our state's the same way here, like y'all state.
Most of them are. That's why I told you that the position that I'm talking about with Chris Nolan's and another one in Louisiana is one of 12 in the country. And the one in Louisiana is a nonpartisan primary. So when I was asking everybody, is it better, since it is a state position, is it better for us as a community nationwide to focus on these 12 or 14 positions, especially since 5 of them are in majority Black areas?
I think it's best to organize locally based on the needs of your community and the voting rules in your community. So it's not, it wouldn't, like, so what's happening in your location wouldn't necessarily benefit us here in Los Angeles, right? Because the rules are different. So I don't think I think you can organize locally just as we are here in Los Angeles. You're going to have to organize locally based on your needs there.
No. I get that sentiment. You're gonna do that. Let's just say you're gonna do that 1 out of 7 days a week, right? So one day you do that. Your county thing, boom. Now what I'm saying is, we're trying to get Black people positions, decent positions nationwide for whatever reason. Let's just say we got in a purely hypothetical situation, we got all 5 agriculture commissioner places that we could. These people in that role can sit there and hand out certain licenses, like hemp licenses. This brings jobs to their state. This also can bring the Black community that's already a predominantly Black community to there. You see what I'm saying? So now we got a position of power where they have, and they don't just have over agriculture, they have it over all commerce. So they is the entry level to businesses or whatever in that particular state. It's just been brought down a little bit less. You see what I'm saying? And if we can get that in 5 different states, because we do some kind of nationwide campaign that's focused, I don't see how that doesn't benefit everybody. Especially when you talk about agriculture, you can freeze the food and send it to anybody in the country. You know what I'm saying?
Tara, did you want to respond?
Well, I was kind of confused on what. Okay, can you start over? So you said there are commission positions in. I don't know where you're from, what city you're from. Can you start?
I'm in Tennessee, but I'm looking to go to particularly look at the position in Louisiana and South Carolina, as far as not just marketing it, but trying to get money in it. And so what I'm saying is, there are roles in your state where you have an absorbent amount of power under the governor, because the governor can't do everything. So the governor, like the executive branch, appoints a series of people to do certain things. That's how it typically rolls in most states. But in some states, those roles that have a lot of power are electable. To give you a scale, most of the time you would have 50 of this role, and if it was any other executive role, you would have 50 of this role across the board, where each governor would pick this role.
Can you tell me the title of the role so I can follow what you're saying?
Agriculture commissioner.
Okay, agricultural commissioner per state is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, that is appointed by the governor of each state.
Yes, but except for 12 states. That's what I'm trying to say.
So the other 12 states are electable.
Exactly. Now you're getting it. So what I'm saying is, normally we wouldn't have a prayer to get in that role. Like there was no chance with the Democrats and the Republicans owning all the governor roles and all that. There's no way we would get that role. But in these 12 states, 5 of which are majority Black, or have a large percentage, I'll say 30% plus Black in most of these states, that role is electable. You see what I'm saying now? And now, if that state can change, and even if you can just get better hemp licenses or farm licenses, you can bring Black businesses into that area. You see what I'm saying? And you can get more.
Like what I would suggest, like I said, locally organizing, identifying the at least taking those 5 predominantly Black states, identifying a person who would be qualified to run for those positions in those 5 states, and then galvanize and organizing the Black votes in those states for that electable position.
Okay, so I'll use South Carolina for example, mainly because Marcel's already there. So this one will tell you this problem. The problem is it's majority Black. You can and Marcel said this himself. The problem is money. So if the problem is money, how is there not a nationwide campaign to make sure the problem's not money? You see what I'm saying? And then because it's a benefit if Chris Nollums gets in there, theoretically, it's a benefit to every Black American that's sitting in this country. I don't know if people seen black farms from the 1970s to now, but I wouldn't want to lose control of my food source. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to let these people quote, right now we have a handful of black farmers. In the next 10 or 20 years, that might be non-existent if we keep letting these agriculture commissioner jobs go, and that's who's going to block it out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but I think even creating a coalition among those 5 states with the predominantly Black electorate, right? Organizing them, pooling funds to be able to build a campaign based on those. I think there should be a national pool for Black folks to be able to run for office, right? But we have other issues in the community right now. I think that's exactly what my organization does, but we're starting locally because, you know, there is a resistance for Black folks to put their money somewhere. They want to see where the money's going. They want all this transparency, and as they should, right? But there are all these constant questions, and there are these immediate approaches with distrust. So I would start small and then work my way out versus trying to do it nationally with all 50 states and predominantly Black cities. Like, I'm starting here in Los Angeles and doing that now, right? Because, you know, we are at a certain wealth position to where it kind of impedes our ability to do that. So we're going to have to be smart in our approach. But I think that is a great idea.
All right, well, the reason why I even bring it up is because by 2053, they said, and I want people to realize this was like in 2017, no later than 2019. So this was pre-pandemic is what I'm getting at. 2053, Black people ain't gonna have no wealth. So if I had to push that up, we'll just push it halfway between now and then. So like 2040, 2030-ish, whatever, 2035. That's not a lot of time. No matter how you look. You know
Art, I'm gonna be honest with you. They already saying we don't have any wealth, man.
It's true.
We already at the end of the spectrum on that, dude. Cause they just announced back here probably sometime, let me see, about 6 months ago, that 86% of the wealth in this country is white people, and Black people are at the lower end of the totem pole, man. We already at the bottom.
So I'm still gonna say, for shits and giggles, we're already at the bottom, but I'm still gonna say 2025. So we'll even say 2030. What I'm saying is these roles are 4-year roles. So if I'm not trying to say anybody has to rush or anything like that, but what I am saying is that if we don't get these roles, we're not gonna have a rollback. Right now in Louisiana, they don't even have a candidate set up, and it's in 2023, and it's nonpartisan, which means we can pretty much pick the person we want to get into that role. We don't even have to deal in party lines. And we're not going to get it back. Whoever gets elected in that role, we're not going to see it until 2027. See what I'm saying? So it's not like, it's sort of like the president. Once it's gone for quite a bit of time. And Chris Nullums is up for this election right here in November, in like 2 or 3 months. Do you really want to wait another 4 years for that to come back around? Is the question I'm asking, you know what I mean?
All right, are you saying, okay, I'm trying to see what you're saying here. Are you saying that we should maybe build up some kind of PAC, like a CPAC, like the Republicans, and where we could throw some money in for a coalition to basically get these people in these positions in the 5 states you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, we did. People pretty much did it with Bernie, right? Like they were all small dollar donations. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we don't need to do Bernie like money. That's the sad part. To get Chris Nullums in and whoever this new person is, who we're gonna obviously have to vet for LA. I mean, sorry, not LA, but I'm saying abbreviation. Louisiana. Yeah, and that's 2 positions. What I'm saying is it doesn't cost as much, and we've already technically done it. And last election, for the presidential election, to pick between those 2 assholes, we spent $14 billion as citizens. We'll just say Black people spend $1 billion. We just spent $1 billion to pick between 2 assholes. We can't spend that, you know, or half that, or a quarter of that, or
okay.
Of that.
Okay, so Art, right? Where do you live?
I live in Tennessee, so I'm like in the middle of both of them. So I can't. Okay. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why.
So are you willing to organize this campaign for Louisiana? Okay,
yes.
great.
If I think that there's going to be, if enough people are interested in it, and it's not going to be a dead thing. But Marcel said it's the same thing too, because I'm going to need help from Marcel to do anything in South Carolina. I know about Louisiana a lot more than I know about South Carolina. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I completely understand. So my organization's Black Pact, right? It's in my bio, BLECKPACT.org, right? We are already doing this, and we already have the infrastructure. If any person in this room, of course, a qualified person who's knowledgeable and can run a campaign in your local area, we can help, right? We can help with that. You can do your own, you can partner with Black Pact, you can do your specific campaign in Louisiana to get this agricultural commissioner elected, right? You don't want to wait 4 years. We have till 2023. Get the deadlines for the registration for that position. Start mapping it out. Identify that person to run. Let's get the votes. Pull the voter profile for that area, and let's map out a strategy. We can do it, but it takes people's willingness to commit, given our funds, given our time and our dedication. And I'm one person, I can't cover every state, and of course every state has special needs and every city has special needs. So the more people that we have in different locations, we can do this work. We're just going to have to organize and pull our funds and do it together. But I think it's absolutely doable.
And can I just jump in and say also that there are other organizations out here that are doing the same thing as well, and we're doing it on the federal level and the state level, and we also have the infrastructure. If you look at the Freedmen's Party, within that body, there's a lot that we have been able to do. We've been able to create robocalls. We've been able to set up the infrastructure that is needed for the assumed win. We even have a full candidate educational training going on right now. And after that training, they're required to take a test. After that test, we will then go back through it to then determine if we're going to endorse them as a candidate for the 2024 election. Because obviously we have already passed the primaries for this election. Point is, if there's a push that you are seeking, you have to know the organizations that can come together to assist you. I don't think that should distract from the local advocacy and pushes, as Tyra said earlier. We all in each one of our respective states have specific needs to that state. And so in recognizing if we don't have a candidate in our state that we are endorsing or supporting, then yeah, we may be able to direct additional funding to you. But we need to still make sure that our states are up and running and that we are donating the monies that we need to our local needs in our states so that we can change these states collectively, not just focus on or redirect all of the resources to just other states, and then we're neglecting our localities.
The only thing I'm suggesting neglecting is the president role and allocate the money we normally use for presidential elections. Like I said, even if you count the black people's $1 billion and allocate it to state elections to get more positions for your money. That's what I'm saying. And I also put Chris Nullums. He's already basically running under the United Citizens Party in South Carolina. That was the person Marcel had mentioned. And I put it in the Jumbotron. He's going to be on the ballot this November. And I'll get. I think I'm following the host, so I'll send a host something on more about Louisiana and the nonpartisan primary, and I think I'll follow Tara.
Yes, her name is spelled Tara, but it's pronounced Tara Perry. Okay.
I just followed her. Okay.
Wonderful. I thank you guys for such a hearty exchange. It's a beautiful way to land here until tomorrow. Like I said, I've got some things. I'm shuffling my schedule to come to you guys so I can get in here daily. So more than likely, I'll be going at 1 again tomorrow, and then trying to bring you day 4 of Twitter Space from last week. I'm going to stream day 3 later this evening when I get back from running errands. so that my subbies and ScrewTube and Racebook who weren't privileged to that space can hear what happened. Because as you can see between my co-host in the chat and my co-host in the Twitter space, we've got some beautiful freedmen minds coming together to knock around ideas to help freedmen to flourish in the country our ancestors built with their lives. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and not just the roof is on fire, the house is on fire, as are freedmen. So this is brilliant. Go ahead, Hassan, bless the mic.
Thank you. I just want to make an announcement for those who are in the state of Maryland that tomorrow CAP will be attending a DNC conference here in Rockville. And if anyone is interested in attending or would like for us to submit any type of questions, please reach out to us. We're here on Twitter at captaskforce.org, or you can DM me privately and I can get the information out to you. It is a public face-to-face, not a Zoom meeting that we will be having with them. So if anyone is out there that's in the state of Maryland that can get to Rockville tomorrow, it takes place at 2 p.m. tomorrow. Please reach out. I appreciate it, Angela. Thank you.
Anytime, sis. Anything. Anytime. Hi, Marcel. So good to have you, Congressman, in the space. I speak on things as if they already are. So welcome, Marcel. We're just about to close out. You'll have to listen to the recording. But yes, later this evening, I'll bring my Racebook and ScrewTube and Twitter audiences. Day 3 of my Twitter space. You guys know I'm a novice over here, but we had some rich things happening, some rich things said, some rich things exchanged that you guys have got to be privileged to. Just remember, definitely, I am a proponent, win, lose, or draw, to continue to support Marcel. MarcelForCongress.com, like I said. I don't believe we have the luxury to not run at every branch of government. And I'm very thrilled to have him as a spokesperson in that space to challenge Jim Clyburn. That thrills me through and through, that he's able, with the magnanimous way in which he presents himself, to keep reparations on the jugular of the Democrat and the Republican Party in some respects, but specifically with the Democrat Party, because we've been their loyal voter base for 60 years. They're the ones who owe us. As for tangibles from the Republican clans, we're not their lapdogs for 60 years. They don't owe us anything. It ain't a party thing for me. It's a freedmen flourishing thing. And we're not flourishing under the Democrats. And I would venture to say it's our votes that's how we got to the bottom of this Titanic as the anchor of the country's capitalism. And it's time for us to get up off the bottom and time for someone to trade places. And the way to do that, in my humble opinion, is the weaponization of the vote. To show out in Barack NOBAMA style numbers to the polls this midterm and for every election cycle hereafter, until my inner Christ tells me otherwise, that the Democrats are ready to wave the white flag and get us the reparations and the end to qualified immunity that we are long overdue. So yes, the strategy, once again, is to vote for closed border and reparations candidates only. Party be damned. It ain't a party thing. It's a freedmen flourishing thing. Also, I want you guys to bless Marcel personally. Yes, I do believe it is our responsibility as American freedmen, having a reparations candidate running for Congress whose teacher's contract was not renewed. I believe it's our job to make sure he still has a livelihood. He's actually managing his campaign off of his retirement, and he's doing this for American freedmen. So aggregated dollars helps him to thrive and to flourish in this process of running our platform, loud and proud and strong and everywhere evenly present. So if you feel like I do, because I've blessed his Cash App and will continue to bless his Cash App, because he can't use his campaign funds to thrive. That's our responsibility. Put up your Starbucks money, whatever you can scrape together. I'd greatly appreciate you blessing his Cash App at $ Son of the Sea, SEA Island, with an S, Islands, with an S on the end. That's $ son of the Sea Islands with an S at the Cash App. I greatly appreciate you doing that. And with that being said, family, I want to pray us out and put the prayer of protection over us. You guys know I'm highly spiritual in this work. I believe we all are. I mean, whether you profess to be or not, you are truly the face of God, the voice of God, and the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. And you've each been ordained magnanimous. I can't think of the biggest word ever. This is a huge undertaking. And I believe that our ancestors have handpicked us to help deliver the lineage and to tell Pharaoh, finally, to let our people really go. We've been tasked with that as the image likeness of God. So I just said it, that I want to pray us out that the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever Freedmen and its allies are, God truly is, because family, you are the face of God. Yes, you are. You're the voice of God. You're the body temple of the Spirit of the living God. And if nobody's told you this today, family, know that I love you oh so black, and I love you oh so strong. And until tomorrow when we meet again, well, later this evening, I'll be back. I'm believing for each and every one of us a ton of peace, love, and reparations. Thank you so much, family, for being here. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. I sure appreciate you, family. I'm out.